Talk about the Amazons.
Alright, we're not talking about the Amazons. It's Wings Mobile Detailing Podcast. I always want to talk about the Amazons. Arsalan is here, guys, and today we're talking about business, corporate, and Arsalan, he has been in a corporate job and wanted to get his feedback on what made you actually decide to go from corporate and start your own business, get your foot wet in a different way.
Yeah.
So for all of you guys out there who is working in a corporate job or is deciding to a corporate scaling and growing the corporate ladder versus starting your own business, you know, we're gonna understand Arsen's mindset because he does have more of a business mindset. He's more of a, what is it called? Blue collar,
Blue collar, yeah.
Blue collar. Type of job. So stay with the introduction, and we're gonna welcome Arsalan.
Welcome to the Wings Mobile Detailing Business and Automotive Podcast, the only podcast that will guide you on how to start and grow six-figure companies. As our team expand from one business location to worldwide domination, you will get step-by-step insights from a millennial franchisor and franchise owner with your host, Andre Mezzalera.
We're gonna go over the difference between doing the corporation path versus going the entrepreneurial way. And
Do you not like my introduction?
that was decent. It could be better. No, I'm kidding, bro.
I know.
In general, it just depends on the kind of person you are and what your goals are and what makes you happy. That's what it comes down to. But for me, the entrepreneurial lifestyle fits what I look for a lot more. Versus going the corporate route, which is again not about route. So they both have their own positives and negatives. And did you want me to?
Well,
did you
I
want
was
to go into that?
See, because there's a lot of people out there who's maybe on the side, people who are undecided. You know what they want to do. How is the corporate? Should I get a corporate?
Yeah.
Is it better or is it worse? You know, make people understand that it's not about it being better, just like you said.
Yeah.
It's not about one route is better compared to the other.
It's your preference. It's your preference of like lifestyle and what makes you happier. Because generally speaking, the entrepreneurial route has more stress, but it has more upside potential. It has more control. You have more control over your life.
Yeah.
When you go that way. But if you go the corporate route, it's safer. There's less risk. There is a structure in place. You know, you go to work Monday to Friday. Everything. It's easier.
It's by the book per se.
By the book, yeah. It's by the structure that they've
teaches.
set up for you. Exactly. Yeah. And it's easier that way, and it's safer because it's a lot safer for a multi-million or multi-billion-dollar corporation that I work for. It's a lot harder for them to go, bankrupt and fire everyone. Versus if you're a small-time entrepreneur, especially starting out, there's a lot more risks. There's all those stats out there of 85% of businesses fail in the first, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years?
Yeah, they say in the first 2 years, 85% of business fails statistically. But the main difference on that is, so as you said, it's about
it's about what you want out of it. So if you're someone who has plans on the weekends all the time to hang out with your kids, to play sports, to go hiking, to do things, to travel a lot, then being an entrepreneur, especially in the beginning, it's very hard to have that lifestyle, to have a very uniform, I'm gonna just work 5 days a week, things like that.
That's why they say you're not, when you leave your corporate job and you start entrepreneurship, even though you might be getting paid the same, you're
working,
but you are working more and you're not profiting the same. You're not supposed to. It's like you're taking a step back financially before the growth later.
Exactly.
And just to introduce real quick for people who hasn't listened to our previous podcasts, Arsenal, he's been under Wings Mobile Detailing franchise, and he's in the finance. Graduating finance in university. Did well there, man.
Yeah, I did pretty decent. I out of college, me and you played golf.
We did.
And that's when I just graduated. I think it was like a couple of weeks I graduated. We were playing golf, and I was applying to positions. I was going to interviews for financial analyst positions, loan analyst positions, just analyst positions, and and I was introduced to Wings, and I saw the upside potential, and I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but like everyone, you're scared, you don't know where to start and things like that. So Wings was, it was one of the best decisions of my life that I got into it. But to back up a little bit. And you were working
in a really good company.
Right.
We did a podcast covering your story before.
Yeah.
In the previous, but we were working for a finance sector for a company before. And so that's pretty much your interest was mainly on the growth potential and on your ambition. I think it comes a lot from your ambition. And yeah, guys, it's mainly that. That's the perspective when I get. Like, what made you, aside from the ambition, like, what made you decide, okay, dude, I wanna get in this grind? Because it's a different world. It's a different world. Like, when you're in the business and your goal, you have a vision to actually grow the business and profit, go after growth financially speaking, you get excited. Like, your excitement level is there.
Yeah.
Where some other people that I know, if they were to start their own business, maybe I wouldn't be for them. Mm-hmm. My brother, for example, he's a corporate type of guy.
My parents, for example,
yeah.
Most people, for example, yeah.
A lot of people, yeah. And there are a lot of people who's not really corporate, but they don't actually find ways to get to the entrepreneurial part.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, actually, majority of people probably want their own thing. They want their own path. They want to create their own path, which you can't really in a corporate route. It's more strict that way, but it's just making that leap from corporate to for example, for me, going from my job to Wings, it was a pretty big risk. And I'm not gonna lie, most people around me, friends, family, were telling me that this is risky, don't do it, things like that. But it's ended up to be one of the best decisions in my life. So it's definitely been a huge positive. But going back to what the corporate life, what the advantage of that is, if that is something that you're looking for, it's, so for example, when I was working back then, I could have done nothing on weekends. I could have done a lot of things on weekends. My weekends were for me. Once you get off at 4 or 5 o'clock, you have the rest of the night to yourself.
Yeah.
But then again, you don't have the potential, you don't have the same growth, you don't have the same control over your whole life as you do in an entrepreneur. So that's what I wanted. I wanted to sort of become financially free. I wanted to be able to, like, sort of, I don't know, set my own time with things, set my own schedule. And you can't do that in corporate life. You have to ask for pay time off. So you have to ask 3 weeks in advance to do this, to do that. And
you want more. It seems like to me you want more of the freedom. Some people get in the business world as entrepreneurs. Their reasoning might be different. Some people might want to get because they want to, have no ceiling of growth. Which that was your reasoning as well. You don't want to just grow 5% a year and then that your entire life you're just gonna save for
work till 65,
and
retire.
Have that. Which most of people have.
Yeah.
You want no ceiling to grow, which normally entrepreneurship offers. Not saying the corporate world doesn't offer that. If you're in a big company, you can.
If you're high up there, it's like, no, for sure. I mean, if you're high up there, you could be making 7 figures as well. Like,
that's true. You still have some growth.
But in an entrepreneurial route, you can do that fast. It comes down on you. If you're willing, if you have enough grit, you can do it faster. For me, I know you have a lot of personal goals. One of my biggest personal goals is to be able to buy my parents a really nice home. In the next 5 to 10 years. And that wasn't really a goal that was completely feasible for me in a corporate route. You can't get to that level of financial freedom without it. And I also want to make money without having to put a lot of time in. So, like, for example, with business, a lot of times you can go to sleep and wake up with more money. In Wings, you can be after a certain point, you can be at home and you're managing, you're still working, but you're kind of controlling if you want to go out today, or if you want to send a team out, and you're managing the things that you have to manage at home, or if you want to go out. So, like, it comes, you have a lot more control over your day.
And I think of things that's more exciting about it is not only do you have more control over it, but your potential. You start to learn. But I don't know if it's because of us, like, we push even for whoever's in Wings, for them to learn, and whenever they learn more, they start to realize their potential. They know it's up to them, and whatever they do, they know will pay off. Whatever they don't do, we know, hey, we're missing here. Like, we know what to do to get to a growth level.
Right.
Where in a corporate world, you're more like, okay, you have to follow the steps, continue it, but you might get higher up, or might not. Yeah. Unless you're in a company where it's growing, you get the opportunity to be inside a company who's actually is growing with you. Like, the team is growing, even being an employee. Yeah. Like companies, as we see, like even Grant Cardone's company, the guy who started Jared Glenn at the beginning with Grant Cardone.
He started small.
He started small with Grant, even though it was his employee. The other sales guys that come in the team, they're managing the team there. Yeah. But there's still that. But I think in the perspective of the business that you were going to, that's the difference. More control over what you do. At the same time, aside from that, like, you also lose a lot of freedom at the beginning, because when you're a corporate, you say stop at 5 and then you have the rest of the day. Yeah. In business, if you want to grow, you're putting in work after 5.
No, exactly,
from morning to night. But I think what comes into place is, do you like that? Like, this, for people who's listening, is that for you? Mm-hmm. Is that, because we enjoy, like, we want to get home, we're excited to get home. Yeah. Or like we're staying home or whatever, like we're excited to be working afterwards. That's our joy, to learn from books and whatever that it takes.
Gary Vee always says, like, if you want to become a millionaire, you have to use your whole day. You can't just use 7 or 8 hours your day and just be like, okay, I'm gonna make it there. It's not doable. Like, when I remember when I was getting trained by you were. I hadn't seen anything like that, especially for someone who was, how old were you, 22? We were both 22, 23 back then. And you would train me during the day. We would detail cars from, 8 to like 4 or 5, like regular work. Everyone else is doing 8 to 5 too. And then you came home and you would market, set the schedule up for Josh, for them, and answer emails, advertise, do all this stuff that you had to do, improve the website. So you were still working. You were working more than 8 hours a day. Same with me when I in Virginia Beach.
Yeah, it was 8 hours a day is part-time.
Exactly. That's if you're taking a break that day, because like the first year and a half there, I was detailing cars 5-6 days out of the week, from morning to afternoon until the sun goes down, and then you're going home and you have to respond to like Yelp messages, emails, and things like that, and
have new ideas while we're taking. It's a different world, because while we're taking a shower, if we're growing our own thing, we're thinking about ideas. We can't wait to get out of the shower and write it down and then apply the next day.
And that's the difference. That's exactly the difference. You're always kind of in that mindset. You're always working a little bit, but it's not. When I say work, it's not. Oh, I have to work. It's like enjoy. Like
work is life.
I get an idea at 9 o'clock at night. I text you and we text back and forth. Like that's work, but like it's enjoyable. It's like we're bouncing ideas off of each other.
I think that's enjoying what you do, because you don't want to. When you get to a point where you feel like you have to separate your work, you separate your work from your life. That's when for us it's together. It's not like let me separate this time to work, because work for us is what we're looking for. Exactly, that's part of our goal. That's our.
Yeah, that's important to understand, because if you go into it not enjoying it, and you're gonna have to work 80 hours a week not enjoying it, you're gonna go insane. You're not gonna be able to make that last. I mean, you've been doing this for 5+ years, and you're still on that same schedule. And it's because you can enjoy it.
There's a good quote. I don't know I think it was Trump, but he said, you really have to love what you do. A lot of people said that. You really have to love what you do. But the reason being, he says, is because if you're in business and you really don't love being in business, like we do, like we want to, during the weekends, we want to talk about business. We want to talk about growing. If you don't love, hard times will come in business. Yeah. And when you're in business, hard times are hard times. You're not going to have enough energy to pass that. Yeah. That's the difference. Like, that's why you want to love doing that, your daily thing, because then you're not going to have the energy. You're not going to be able to go through.
Right, for sure. No, entrepreneurship is definitely a more emotional route than a corporate, because like the downs are low, are very bad, or very stressful because you have people dependent on you. You know, you're paying for your house, you're paying for things, and it's really risky when business is bad. When business is good, it's the best feeling ever. When you're growing, it's the best feeling ever. And nothing in corporate, not even getting a promotion, it feels great. But I promise you, like the roller coaster of being an entrepreneur is so much more up and down, and that's something that comes back to you if you're the kind of person that's enjoying that. If you enjoy the number of challenges, exactly, but if you enjoy the challenges that come your way, and you're growing, and you're doing everything that you can, and it's a lot more enjoyable than if you're doing everything you can at your work. It's still, the growth comes a lot slower. Like it's still, even if you're killing it for 3 or 4 months there, in 3 or 4 months you can achieve a good amount in business. 3 or 4 months of absolutely killing it. 3 or 4 months of absolutely killing it in corporate doesn't necessarily mean a promotion. It has to be more sustained, long term. And same with business, but I'm just making the example of like someone who works 100 hours a week for 10 years in corporate versus someone who works 100 hours a week productively in business will most likely be financially and in terms of lifestyle and control further ahead.
And I think my opinion on that is it goes very about the person's mindset, what they want.
Yeah.
Because if the person has the same want, if there's the same will to actually work hard, and they're in the corporate because they want to be in a corporate, they want to like, oh, my dream is to work at, I don't know, Google and grow inside, or my dream is to actually take advantage of a growing company, work in that smaller company who I see that has potential and it's going to grow, and I want to work there, and they put in a lot of hard work, they're going to get paid back, you know, if they put the same amount of hours as if they're growing their own business. And profit-wise, I see it as about being, pretty close. However, it seems like when you're in business, the business itself that you have will make you work more. So that's why, consequently, I think you get more of that money. It's
definitely more. I think it does get the better version of you out of you, because because it is all you. You're the decision maker. You're the doer. You're the learner.
Screw around. If you screw around, you see the bad result next month already.
And like that's in true. Corporate, you can if something comes up, you can always sort of pass your duties along to the guy sitting next to you. To help you out. So it's not pushing you as much.
It's not too intense comparing to
it's a different level of motivation that it provides. So like I've always been someone who wanted to learn more and things like that. But in corporate, I wanted to learn more, but it was different. When entrepreneur, when you want to learn more, you have to learn more. It's not that you want to. You have to learn for your business's survival. In corporate, it's very hard for them to fire you unless you do something stupid. So the same level of motivation isn't there, in my opinion, at least experiencing both.
And I think for people, also we covered all of the mindset, but for people who's actually, okay, dude, I am in the corporate and I see that my drive is towards business. I'm not happy with growing only 5% a year, or I'm in a big, maybe I'm working in a huge company, a big company, and I want a business, I want to create something. Like, the question is how, for these people, do they go in about advancing or making the switch? Like, how did you do it? Because we're in a golf club, I think I remember that we talked about this story before.
For me, I mean, it just came down to what I wanted long term. What kind of person do you want to become, and what kind of things do you want to, like, not material, but like what kind of life do you want to create for yourself? And the kind of life that I wanted to create for myself, and the kind of mindset that I think I had, was going to fit the entrepreneurial route a lot better. Even though I went the college route, I went the corporate route in the beginning.
And you have your papers. You were working for a really good company in the finance sector.
It's a Fortune, I think it's Fortune 100 company now at this point. Yeah, it's like one of the biggest companies around. But
what
it's
made
a good
you
job.
how did you? Okay, man, I'm giving this up, and I'm gonna take the risk. Like, I mean, I know, like you started with Wings, we're in the golf course, and it's like, okay, maybe you can start here, start from, it started small, and you were building up your team, and then you got to a level where like, okay, each time I see potential. Did you ever see potential at the beginning? Like, did you always see the potential, or you were growing that in you?
I think I knew that there was no ceiling when an entrepreneur. You can grow as much as you want, but you can't really see it. Like you don't, like you can't really. If your goal is to make $1 billion, it's really hard to like engineer that backwards and to be like, okay, if this is what I do in business, I will make $1 billion. You just have to kind of grow it, and day by day, and then you'll see it eventually. The path will become clear.
Personally, I think you get to a moment to where you actually see it. Like, you see the amount of work, the amount of mindset that you have to be like, oh, I want to save, let's put whatever number, $20 million. I want to $10 million a year. Like, we may not know how to do that exactly in steps, but we know what we have to do on a daily basis.
Right, yeah.
We know that we have to learn on a daily basis to have the discipline to work hard, to like keep growing the company, and expect setbacks, expect failures.
Yeah.
And when we come through failures, we have to not focus on the failure and always focus on the solution, not get our mind with the anxiety that everybody has when going through failure in business. But if we pass through that, and every day we have the discipline to wake up early, call clients, grow, fail, hire people, keep expanding the team, and then fail again, but keep doing that, like inevitably, we see that the growth will come.
Right.
Like, it's inevitable. The growth will come by doing this, because we learn from other people.
Right, exactly, and that's one of the things that keeps you sane is like if you're learning from other people, especially during tough times. But you touched on a good point there, where you said like once you start putting in the work, like making the calls, you know what to do on a daily basis, but you don't know exactly like how to get there, but you know how to do things on a daily basis.
You know that you have to do the small things.
Right. That'll.
But you don't know what you're going to be doing on a daily basis a year from now.
Right. And that's another thing that's different from corporate, because with corporate you kind of know what you have to do sort of all the time in order to climb the ladder. You have to be better than the person next to you. You have to get the job done quick, early, things like that. Well, in business, you have to adjust a lot. You have to sort of tweak your system all the time, because things change a lot in business, a lot more than in corporate. Like markets change. Your client, you might introduce a new product or a great invention comes into you. Like, for example, ceramic coating. Ceramic coating is something that changed the industry, and like things like that will happen a lot for an entrepreneur, and then you have to learn about that, and you have to sort of market yourself differently and things like that.
You're talking about the technical part as well, yeah.
Learn how to train the guys differently, learn how to like market yourself so you can target that client base that's going to go for ceramic coating, because it's a little different. But with corporate, even if the industry changes a little bit, your company has to adapt to it. Your specific position, since you play a small role in a big company, it doesn't change as much. So there's less uncertainty, there's less change than there is with corporate. But then there's more opportunities when there's change in corporate, in entrepreneurship. Yeah. For example, ceramic coating changed a lot of things for us. We had to adapt to it, but it was a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity to make more money. In corporate, it's not quite the same.
Yeah.
And it's not as fast.
Yeah, and it's above all, like for those people who has that mindset, there are a lot of people who are confused. They don't know. I don't know if I want a corporate. I don't know if I'm the type of the person who I want to like start my own business.
Yeah.
Or like you did, which is awesome. In a franchise. Wings, obviously it's awesome because Wings, come on.
Wings is the best.
And above all the benefits from our company itself, I don't want to sound too biased, but it's hard to. But a lot of people are confused. They don't know of what route to take. And I think for the people to realize that what is it for them that they want to do, is not only analyzing how well they deal under pressure with problems, but it's their purpose, their goal. I think that's gonna play a huge part in the business, because if you want to be an entrepreneur, it's not necessarily, I love to, let's say us, we run team for auto detailing. I love to detail cars, so maybe I will succeed in the business of auto detailing. So
Right.
that's not actually the reason you want to get in that particular industry, because as a business owner, you're gonna grow the business. The problems that you're gonna have, you're not gonna be facing with car detailing unless you want to be a solopreneur. But what you really want to look for is
The lifestyle, and if it's your passion, right?
Yeah, if your goal, like if your purpose, if your goal is your passion, on your daily basis, to manage your team.
What drives you daily?
What drives you? That's correct. Yeah, that's right. Like maybe you work your goal down, and not you work towards your goal. Like you set on your mind, like what do you want as a goal? Me, the reason I enjoy Wings so much is because it's not, do I love car detailing? It's not about it, Many people ask, do you just love car detailing? No, I like this style of business.
Yeah.
My goal is I wanted to manage a huge team of people, mobile employees that get their vans in and out, and I don't have to start, their benefits not starting with a high overhead, but manage a huge team of people with a lot of vehicles. They go in and out and they service people mobilely for them. It's convenient for the people as well. So a good, happy, good culture, good business,
Right.
With quality service, but mainly that my first vision was like I want to start a business because I want to grow. First is that I have big goals.
Yep.
And I want to grow big. I made the decision, and the decision is the type of business. Okay, I want this type of business, and then the rest, that's gonna bring in the fulfillment.
Yeah.
Each day.
And that progress is I mean, it's your passion. Hopefully that's one of the reasons you got into it, but it's the growth that'll bring you a lot of like satisfaction, a lot of happiness as well, that I don't think you get the same level in corporate. But for example, if this is for people who are in corporate and they want to transition into an entrepreneurial route,
then they can call Wings Mobile Detailing
call
franchise.
Wings first. And then no, but like I think you should like obviously everything we said, the lifestyle, things like that, make sure it's what you want, but also make sure that you're not it's a good example, you're not always thinking about is the grass greener on the other side. Like make sure you're not just looking at, that entrepreneur is a millionaire and he did it in 10 years. I'm gonna go the entrepreneurial route.
If you're going for the money, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because you
can't last.
You can't last, because when you come through hardships, hard problems, you're gonna give up easily.
Yeah,
that's why you can put money as a purpose. Like, I want, it is good to have goals, big goals. I want to grow a big team, a big company. That's great. When you put towards money, like you said, because it's not green on the other side.
It's not.
It's not. Like, either corporate or business, like being an entrepreneur, if you go to corporate, just think, think it's green, you want to make more money there, go for the money. You're not going to make it either path.
And psychologically, you're probably thinking that way. I mean, it's just think about last time you had something, you had a car and you didn't care, you liked it, you didn't care that much for it, you sold it, you started liking it a lot more because now you understand the value of something that you don't have. So like, don't always look at something that you don't have and say, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Because it probably isn't something that you want. You have to make sure that it fits your lifestyle, it fits your passion, it fits what you want to do long term. And with business, one of the things is like in the beginning is when it's usually the hardest, and there's the most amount of competition, and there's the most amount of shit, and there's the most amount of learning and figuring things out. But then there's more upside. It's like, if anyone's seen Shawshank Redemption, the movie, it's like the guy is digging with a spoon for years, and then he goes through the tunnel, comes through all the shit, and then he's free. That's what business is. You have to. It's like a pyramid. At first, you're competing against a lot of people. There's a lot of stuff that you have to go through.
That ride that what Gary Vee says, you have to eat shit.
Exactly.
But that eating shit ride is supposed to be fulfilling, good, because you're always looking for growth. You know?
And like all the gurus that I would listen to would say that, but to be honest, there was a lot of times, and I love business, but there's a lot of times in the beginning that you're like, this is frustrating. Exactly. I have to do everything myself, because in the beginning, a lot of times you have to do everything yourself.
It's easy to give up, and hats off to you especially, because you have all the papers in hands, good job, like good, like potential for a corporate job, and if you wanted to go that route, you know, you could very well easily, and you went through problems. So, and I'm gonna name this like from corporate to entrepreneurship. You know, the story, and like for your first 2 years, for example, man, how did it go? Like, you were getting paid well, you had your own apartment already starting, you know, because you got out of college and already started a corporate job, and you could lease a new car out of the lot, you know.
I had a little bit of savings on the side. It was a lot of things that people would look and say, oh, 22-year-old doing that, he's doing well, but my goals weren't just to save like $1,000, let's say, for example, a month. I wanted to get to that level that I could, like I said, buy a house for my mom. And you know. And
how was your first 2 years? Like, what did you do, just for people to have an insight of your story? Even though we did a podcast on that, just cover it real quick.
When I was working. I was working both to get detailing going, because it takes a little bit of time for the online presence to start showing up and things like that. So I was doing both. I was working 40 hours corporate, and then at night I would do a little bit of advertising and things like that. And on weekends I would go to like dealerships or hit dealerships at night. Market on weekends. So I was doing both. And I don't know why, but I enjoyed the wing stuff a little bit more than the corporate stuff. But anyways, and because I could see growth, I think it's because I could see growth so much faster. I could see my ranking on Google coming up like one page every 2 or 3 weeks, versus a corporate I was barely seeing any. You don't see growth like that fast.
Got it.
So you see that, and then just having something that's yours, having something that's based on your decision, having something that you can, it comes down on you if it's going to grow or if it's going to fail. And in corporate, it comes down on you, not to the same level. In corporate, you can become rich, not to the same level. In corporate, everything's the same. It's just that the level of what you want is different. The risk is more too, but the happiness, I think, is more, at least for me.
It's more fulfilling. To yourself personally, you felt to yourself, it might not work for somebody else who is a corporate type of guy. But if it was more fulfilling, the grind, the actual work for it, because you were seeing results, and it was a lot fulfilling. And what is very important is that you were also ready for when the setbacks come, because a lot of people in business, it's so easy to give up in business. When you're 4, 5, 6 months in business, you're only seeing growth. Initially, you're going to see more growth at the beginning. First, second, third, fourth, fifth month. And then the 6th month, or after the 13, which was for you, I guess you went through a huge setback. I was like, damn, I stepped back, I saved all of this, I stepped back 3, 4, 5 months. Dude, like, it's so hard. Is this supposed to be like this? Am I doing something wrong?
Right.
Your difference and our difference was that we were learning a lot from other people, and they were going through the same thing. And you're like, okay, this is normal. This is normal to go through.
Every single one of them has gone through this. And without me realizing that, I would have, because it was a huge setback, man. I was depressed for like a week. I was just like, should I go back to corporate? Should I do this? Because like everything else comes into your mind, and the only thing you're thinking about,
and we did a podcast on that. If you guys want to check out why we were going through that, we did a podcast called "We're Going Through a Huge Business Setback." Can look back.
And if it wasn't for listening to people like Grant, people like Andy, people like Ed, like I can go on and on. But if it wasn't listening to like learning from people whose life we want, then I wouldn't have known that was normal. And actually, I should have gone through multiple setbacks. Because from all the stories I've heard, man, people who've made it big have gone through thousands of setbacks.
We'll still go, like, but you were still the 13th month in business,
right?
Like, you're at the beginning still, like there's still many years
to jumpstart things back up again, and that's another thing that's one of the biggest advantages in corporate. It's really rare when you've like gone up 6 or 7 years to have to come back from level 0 or level 1 to the base. It's
comfortable.
It's gradual. That's why I say there's so much more emotions with entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
There's a lot more
a roller
downs.
coaster.
Yeah, exactly. And the highs are ecstasy and the lows are complete depression.
But that's the
worth
importance that we did, is not only that you read and you understood that it was normal, but we get it. Then we want to build ourselves to get excited through setbacks, because we know that is required to achieve the big goals you have. It's
a huge learning curve.
And when you go through setbacks, we're like, okay, good, this is supposed to happen. Good. It sucks when you're like sometimes losing money or employees or whatever problem your company will have.
Yeah.
But you were required to go through those. I'm saying about why you're still in business. You definitely not fail, but you're still there. You're gonna go through setbacks and fight it through and go over. And be careful with that.
You're right. I think to sum it up.
Because we've been
because we always say let's go 5 minutes, but we enjoy the conversations and then it goes for longer and longer. But just to sum it up really quickly, I mean, both paths are great. It just depends on you. But
do it 30 minutes organization.
30 minutes summary. Just reiterated everything word by word, but it's the same. It's the same path. Just one has more ups and downs and has more potential, I think, in my opinion. And but it comes with more headache and more risk, but for more potential rather than corporate. And for me, for the kind of person I am, and you have to figure that out on your own, the entrepreneurial way takes a lot more boxes than the corporate route does. And you can get to your dreams and goals faster, I think, entrepreneurial route, because it does depend on you.
Depending on what your goals are.
Depends on what your goal. If you have big goals, I think entrepreneurship is probably better for you if you know you're going to be able to work for it more, because you will have to work for it more.
If you get fulfillment,
you have more dependent on you. In a way.
I think if you definitely want to get fulfillment. Out of that's a really important thing out of what you do.
And you can do both. You can do both. You can have a side business. See if this is something that you want on a large scale. And if not, then have the side business and make some extra cash on the side.
But yeah, man. And so we got, just so you guys have an idea on the business. So we are in 3 locations. Our son is running there in Nova, North Virginia, Fairfax, Arlington area, covering multiple cities over there. We have another location for whoever wants car detail. No, but we have another location in Virginia Beach, Norfolk, and in Richmond, Virginia.
All 3 major locations in Virginia.
Virginia. So we're looking into growing, into expanding into other cities, offering franchise. And if you're one of those like who has that mindset to win a franchise, you can reach out to us to start the wings there in your place. And just subscribe to our podcast. We did the last podcast on Arson's having a setback, and I interviewed you. We're in the apartment, man.
Yeah, man.
It was a really, really good time. Not really.
Not for me.
But not for you. But you stay there. You stay strong with that perfect mindset. So thank you so much for listening, guys. And Arcelon.
All right, guys. Appreciate you guys listening, and leave us a 5-star review. No bad reviews. Thank you.